Shalom, assalamu alaikum, my friends. So, did you guys see the Tucker Carlson show yesterday, where he interviewing the chief of police for the Capitol Police and the incident that took place? Now, there's a lot of things that they were talking about, and I want to remind everybody: you have just make sure you understand something. The rich are always in cahoots together, always, always. The kings and queens were always in cahoots together. Always, no matter what. Now, when they get caught up is usually when things like Marie Antoinette, those type of things, that takes place and they end up losing their lives. Because something is being revealed and people are starting to be more aware of it, and their reactions are not what they should be. In other words, they turn to violence rather than justice, right? Sometimes violence is not justice. Even though the violence is deserved upon the people, it's not a justice form. And you'll understand that later. But let's talk about what had taken place, right, in this incident. Now, like I said, remember that the rich are all in cahoots. So you have this guy, and he's not getting information that he needs. Plus, they had intel prior before that certain things may take place. Now, you have to understand, if there was such intel, now you have to, like I said, you got to be aware, all the rich are in cahoots. It doesn't matter. In the media, they're all owned by the rich. You have to understand that. So there's little tidbits that they're going to feed because they need the movie. Remember, you're in a movie, everyone. So they have to have the characters that play the role, that lead to the plot, and then eventually the, what do you call the ending, or the climax, and then the ending. So everybody that they have right now, every podcaster, every media outlet, everybody who's left from the mainstream news, and now they're doing their own podcast, all of these people are all in cahoots. Why? Why? Because you're watching the same individuals that were on the same crooked program that was corrupted to begin with. Just because, now you have to understand, when people realize the media is corrupt, you know what they're going to do? You know what any intelligence is going to do? They're going to separate that and create for you a scenario where there's villains and heroes. So, this guy going to leave the television show, he's going to go to YouTube and make his own, and create his own media news outlet. Like what Trump did with, Twitter blocking Trump. But, Trump going to create his own social media outlet and charge you $5. We love freedom of speech for $5. That's Donald Trump, everyone. You have to understand the rich are all in cahoots. It doesn't matter. And I'm going to expose and show you exactly how they did it and what they're doing. I'll expose them. See, I haven't even studied into this. This is what right now I am being live with the Word of God. I have not even really looked into any of this. I have just, me personally, myself, I have heard something and now I'm like, God, what's going on? Explain this. So you have to understand. So when, like I say, they may get separation. So now you think that because that guy left that news source and he's got his own podcast now, he's going to tell the truth. You think. You think. It's all a separation of the movie, right? Different plots and twists and turns and the climax of it so we can get to the end. And what is their end goal? Their end goal is complete submission of people in a one world dominant government in a simulated computer world ran by a Dajjal AI Antichrist, fake man, mark of the beast. He will cause all Understand that. He, the Dajjal, the Antichrist, the AI, will cause people to get killed, people to take the mark, people to worship and bow down. This is the cause of these things because of what is being perceived, the deception that is being put out. And the cause of what the deception is the cause of this, right? He will cause, and you look at those causes. Now we get into what they were studying. So the media and the breakaways, and you understand that Joe Rogan, like Joe Rogan. Reason I say this is because he's the #1 podcaster. But look at his fruit that he bears, and you understand he's a wicked man. Yes, he is. If he's not promoting godly stuff, even though, like you can have a man, he's sitting around preaching the word of God, but behind closed doors, he's pedophiling little children. What do you think of someone like that? Here, though, it's the same scenario. You have to understand, people. You have to use a proper measure of judgment. When you look at Joe Rogan, he's promoting drugs and alcohol on his show, and he's a comedian, so he cracks jokes and thinks things are funny when it's serious. Usually that's the sign of a coward. When something serious arises, they like to crack jokes about it. That's a coward. We don't want to hear your joke. We want to take care of the problem. Shut your girly mouth, you coward, and get out of here if you can't handle it. We don't care for your jokes. Some things are funny, but when it comes to certain things that are not funny, we don't need to hear you joke. But this is, they want you to think that comedian joking is okay for good. It's a good thing. It's freedom of speech type thing. Like I said, you can be an asshole to be an asshole. That has nothing to do with freedom of speech. You can act like a pervert and talk like a pervert. That has nothing to do with freedom of speech. You have just characterized yourself with speech of what you are by how you speak. You understand that? My whole life I've just studied people, watched people. I understand all this. So in this, these guys are pretending to be righteous, good people. So they put on they're wolves, they put on sheep's clothing. And then they'll go around create. So Tucker Carlson is also kind of like one of those guys as well. Because here you got a guy, he came on his show, and he's supposed to be the chief of the Capitol Police, and he states out of his own mouth that they had intel prior of maybe bombing or harming senators or something like this. If they had such intel, if that was true, first of all, let me explain to you. Let's say you're the chief, and you run the building that is supposedly where the murder or anything is going to take place. What would be your first priority? Is nothing is going to be held at the Capitol building because of such intel, where things may happen. No one is allowed. No one will get a permit or a pass to hold any rally or anything outside or by the Capitol, nor will you proceed to it if there was intel of such thing. Now, if there wasn't intel of such thing, then this is just a ghost. And more misinformation being spread. And a book being written. And he wants to get money and paid so he can get rich off of this deception that they're all perpetrating against we the people. Now, as you watch that interview, you start to see into more things of who was in charge of certain aspects. You see there's that Nancy Pelosi is there. And this guy wants to blame this guy, and this guy wants to blame that guy, and that guy's going to blame this guy in a scenario where they need to get something done. Wait a minute. If an emergency happens, you want to keep cool, remain calm. Second, you want to take charge. Third, you want to distribute what needs to be done out to those who can get the job done, regardless of who's in charge now. It's an emergency. In an emergency, you shouldn't have in the action now, of course, in the decision making of certain things. Once that is done, then there's that. But in it, there is no who's in charge. It's what can we do to save a life? What can we do to keep safety, right? You understand, everyone? So in that, you can clearly see that just by a normal citizen such as myself, speaking the way that I'm speaking, these guys aren't even handling their job the way that even a normal person would have done something. These guys aren't even doing that, so obviously there's meddling around in that authoritarian status right there. So either one, they're all lying, and or two, then there's an inside working that's going on that is being purposely perpetrated. And those that are in it are also following along with the perpetration. Because like I state, if in the state of emergency, there is no one who's in charge. You get the damn thing done. You take and do whatever you need to have to do, and you get it fucking done. Before anyone else gets killed. But they wanted it all to, it's a political stunt. And they want you to know that it's a political stunt because, like I said, the rich guy, Trump, is going to state it because that's their guy who is going to be the telling on them. And they're going to have bits exposed because, and the bits that they're having exposed isn't Trump's not the one exposing the Democrats. It's the everyday people. It's the everyday scenarios that are exposing these types of foul things that are happening. And we can see the lies that doctors perpetrated with coronavirus. You see all the people saw that. There wasn't a guy saying that, no. Everyone saw this weirdness happening. And everyone said no. But these guys want you to pretend as if they are in charge still. Regardless of who is left or right or who's up there, who's not. They always want to play in their ego that they are the ones that are causing and doing everything. Like that's what I remember what I told you in that one video. If they're claiming to be Jesus, if they're claiming to be God, if they're claiming to be the word that they speak, then they're a liar and a deceiver. That's why Isa, this is for you Muslim, this is why it's so important to understand. That is why Isa, being the vessel, being the living temple where Allah lives, yes, he understands. He is the building that Allah is in, but he understands that he is meaningless, the flesh is meaningless, the spirit with him gives him life. Worship God, don't worship me. Even though he is deserving of worship and zakat, through the Magi clearly showed you that he was, even as a baby. But him in his perfectness, he knows you don't worship flesh. He knows he is a vessel that can be killed, but resurrected. He knows, and inshallah, the only reason he was killed is because, inshallah, God willed that. You understand that? So, now back to the story. I don't want to get off track, but just to let you understand that when you get these boastful guys saying, look what I have done, look what I have done, and they're not giving the credit to where credit is due, these are deceivers. These are seekers of powers. They want money and power, and their God is what they can get out of speaking something. That is who they worship. You'll know them by their fruits, man. So in the movie, they've created for you these separations and these plots and twists and turns. But as you notice, even in them going to court and trying to criminalize each other or get each other in trouble, no one ever gets in trouble. Think about that. If you did what they did, where would you be sitting? None of these people will ever get in trouble for doing worse activity than most people that sit in jail today. These people have done way worse criminal activity. Fact. You just don't know it because they keep it all hush hush, secret. And then when you get people that come out to trying to say something on them, you'll have other people coming out saying stuff, so it gets more twisted and so then you don't even have the full understanding of the truth. But just know this, I'm telling you something. So they have created in this movie their villain and their heroes and their separations and their divisions, and they're fake. Because all of a sudden, look, all of a sudden it became racism, didn't it, in the world? All of a sudden Antifa and BLM popped up, didn't they? It wasn't like there was this thing happening for years and years. All of a sudden it pops up. That can't be coincidence. It's got to be funded. People got to know more about some kind of organization. You understand? So even like for when you want to donate money to a charity, the charity didn't just pop up. Charities usually have been around for a while. And you get to understand what the charities are, or you've heard about the charity. When you start seeing these things pop up that nobody's ever heard of, where they just pop up out of the blue and they're funded and they have money and they have means to do things that you need money to do, understand some rich fuck is funding them. Point blank. So in this movie, these certain groups, they've had all this set up, and they're going to create it in that manner. Like I say, they're going to get you wild up and roused, because they'll make you think they're attacking your hero, but the whole time their hero works for them. Because they'll never get in trouble for anything that they're accusing each other of. That's part of the movie, to make you think that they're actually doing something. But these are the same people that are in the Senate and the House that have been in the Senate and the House when the corruption and troubles was going on. You're the same clowns. All of a sudden now you want to talk and say that there is some kind of corruption? You're the corrupt ones. Fact. And anybody that they promote media-wise or any of this other stuff that they promote ahead of anybody else, you better understand that they're basically graduating them into their clique. That's the way they do it. Think of the last time we voted for the House of Republicans and the House of Democrats to get in. How many people do you actually know, one, outside of the very few that they started to show on the media and the news as being, they're speaking about this or they're doing, as if they're doing something? Very few, wasn't it? Bobart, Marjorie Taylor Greene. And then you had that on the Democrat side, you had that constant five. So you better understand that anytime the media starts to cover these guys more and more and more over any other representative, is programming. Fact. It's programming. And they're getting paid. The news, the mainstream news that's national, should not just be promoting only certain characters. What about all the House? What does any of them say? What do all of them say? Why are you not interviewing all of them and showing tidbits of that rather than constantly showing clips of foul, dumb stuff? Because it's programming. So in this, as you watch the Tucker Carlson program and heard that guy speaking what he's speaking, you clearly see that they were all part of it. Because even Trump would have known what was going to be happening. And as their intel knew. Trump was the president at the time. Think about all of this, everyone. That guy was the president. Pelosi was the leader of the Capitol Hill. They should have been, they always communicating together, always. But all of a sudden you notice, you see this, so just follow along. Follow along and you'll see the movie. You see that they're all part of it. And they're tricking all of you. That's why I tell you, you vote for me for president, man. I'll try to run if I can get enough people to say, yeah, do it. And so you can understand that I'm exposing their movie to you. So the president of the United States gets skiffs read to him down the daily of things that took place. You think the guy stated that 4 days before January 6th, they had intel of this. You think he was not in the skiff and got that intel as the president? He would have. He would have. And being the leader of the nation, you would have put a stop. You wouldn't be able to hold rallies there because of that certain intel that threats upon people were there. Unless you were part of the Capitol Hill shenanigan involving Pelosi and all of them, who also had the same intel as the president would have had. Yet, they all did what they did. They all did what they did. Think about that. Think about that. And you saw what the how they were all walking people around and everything else within there. We all saw this. So it was always these little groups that were funded by the rich to begin with, because it wasn't normal voters, normal citizens causing trouble. No. These were all members and groups part of the program, whether they were BLM, Antifa, Proud Boys, or whoever the programming was. It's like I said, you can't just overnight just all of a sudden hear about a big old large group and they have lots of means to get things done. You gotta be funded by something, man. So they all knew it. Trump knew it was going to take place. Pelosi knew it was going to take place. They all knew it was going to take place because they're trying to divide and destroy citizens, Americans, so that the coup can take place within the global networking now. We're getting out of national. Now we're to the global networking of the criminal activity with the globalists, so that America can be taken over by that. And then the rich billionaires will take over and process in the means of their new world order and their new industrial revolution, which will be the AI robot. And their one world government of global law and global currency through this simulated world they want everyone in. Now, if that doesn't explain it to everybody, so you can clearly understand that they all would have known by watching Tucker Carlson's interview and clearly seeing what the chief of police had stated. Just certain bits of what he has stated clearly identifies all the criminals, all the ones that were involved. Because if that intel existed, then they all would have known. And if the intel didn't exist, then this is a ghost putting the intel out there on behalf of whom? Well, them. Because in order for them to keep prosecuting and taking people to court, to keep the movie alive, so that way then we have the voting that will take place, so that way a fraud can take place again in a manner. And if it does, think of the implications that has. And let's say that it happened. Let's say it's going to happen twice more times. So this next bout round, let's say it happens, and they have to implement more, take away more of your freedom, implement more policing, more military, more, because that was their whole beta test of all that. All of it was a beta test. They didn't know how the people would react to such foul stuff that they had been planning. I mean, the National Guard putting up a gate, blocking out the people. All of this is just insanity within itself. You have to understand that. But they did it to create the insanity. Because every one of them knew the protocols. Every one of them knew what they were needed to do and should have done from the get-go. And not one of them did it. No one in position of power did it. Instead, they all came out like a movie on the media stating political cases. That's all they did. That's all they fucking did. And your voting has always been manipulated in that manner. Voting has always been manipulated. They just wanted you to know now, because they wanted to. They're trying to destroy democracy and have a coup, so they can have a takeover, and then whoever they're going to hand off the baton to be a. You had Rome, you had Caesar, but then you had different tax collectors, and then different. Things that broke off from Caesar, like what Pontius Pilate was. So that is basically what they're trying to do globally through the one world government. You're going to have the main ruling, but then you're going to have the branch off from that. You understand? And this is what they're hoping. They're trying to fight for who's going to have this power control over the branching in the American land. And that's why you're getting into this racism fight that they're having. We the people aren't having it. We the people don't give a fuck. They are. You got to understand, we the people, we're the ones that they sell everything to. You better understand that. Everything that you're injecting through your mind is being sold to you. Through their manipulation of how they want it sold to you. You have to better understand that. Because think about yourself. If you want to watch a game, who do you want to be the players? And who do you want to be playing? And how do you want it to take place in the manner? You see what I'm saying? They show you who they're going to pick. They go and put it on the news. They put it on the media. They show you the game. They do this. They do that. They promote whatever player it is that they wanted to promote. They show you this. And because of what they show you, you think that's the hero. So because they only showed you that guy, now everybody going to buy whatever it is that guy has done. Even though if you look at how many teams are there and how many players are there, why is it that you only know a couple that are famous in that manner? You understand what I'm saying? If there's no I in team, everybody better wake up to it, man. Wake up to all this nonsense. You see what they're doing. So in this, the rich got their movie created for us, like I said, and they all knew what was going to happen. It's all a program. It's all for them to go, oh, we're going to take Donald. We're going to take you to court and say you Capitol riot, but nothing's going to happen. It's just to make people think that this has happened and that's happened, so they don't know what we're really doing. That's what it all boils down to. Oh, here's a crackhead. But because you see a picture, do you really know for sure if that guy doing drugs? You can't say that he is that. Media is stating that. So if I go get a crack pipe, and take a picture of it, you would think that I'm a crack smoker, even though I don't. But I have a picture, then that becomes that. That becomes that, right? You understand the imagery? Why imagery is very dangerous to make all conclusion based upon. Because a picture could be worth 1,000 words. Now, you get into it, you start to notice, okay, now they're going to prosecute this family, now they're going to prosecute that family, just for a movie for us. And then they're going to create certain standards within the prosecution. So you have Johnny Depp and the Amber Heard. They broadcasted his little ordeal, but yet they don't want to broadcast them prosecuting the president's ordeal. Why? Why is there different standards for these different things? You understand? It's all ignorance, it's all stupidity. because it's all a movie. It's all part of the brainwashing thing. Um, so within this movie, behind it is the true evil, which is to radically destroy the institutions and the way that we perceive time, season, laws, and things, and divide it up so much that we begin to lash out and get foul and crazy. And if we don't, then they'll create black ops that will do it, like BLM, Antifa, and all these who are funded by these very rich people. And they will go and cause the problem. Meanwhile, the innocent people are just watching these crazy activity on the TV. We're not even involved in any of this. Majority of Americans have no idea what any of these groups are or who they are or any of this stuff. The media is promoting it as if all of the rich, they all knew about it. You understand the scenario they're playing for you? They're making it as if it's mainstream knowledge. No one knew. No, what the fuck are you talking about, media? And rich people. Who are these clowns rising up? And why are our police and them not arresting them for breaking and violating our laws? What's up with you? You see, it's all a movie. It's all bullshit. Clearly understand it. So that way, those that are behind it can step in and play God in the manner that they are trying to implement technology. So with the use of this new industrial revolution, it will become their new God in the manner of how they ruled. Because before they were ruling you based upon deception, even within religions, like I told you, your religions were created by them as well, and they all share the same fitna and deception. Moses turned sticks into snakes, calling God a witch. And you all think that you're in a righteous way and a righteous means, that you went to war with each other over centuries, killing each other in the name of God. Who created such scenarios? If there was only one truth, one God, one way, why are all of a sudden there's multiple facets of you? Where did you come from? And you see, it's from the rich and the powerful that did it. They funded it, they created it. Who do you think funds a scientist to create their scientific research? Who do you think funds anybody to do any of the things that they're doing? Some rich person. Okay? So in it, they all have their deception that they have been controlling you by. And now this deception is being woken up. They can't continue in it because their technology is advancing. So in it, that their deception cannot be hidden as well. It's becoming more revealed. You know, before they could read and create scripts of a whole room, like, you know, here's Joe Biden, he's going to give a presidential speech, and you think that the room is full because you hear people speaking or crowd talking, but then when you look at it, it was all videotaped. There was nobody in the room. It was all pre-recorded, and they added in people background noises or anything. Great deception. Great deception. But they've always been doing that. Now technology is becoming so more advanced, and the people are becoming more advanced with the technology and the knowledge of it. We can clearly see when these guys are playing games. So now they need they need to redo all of it. They need to erase history in a manner so that way you won't remember what they once did. And now they create the new God, the AI, the new laws, the new ways of things, so that they can control you and remain in position of power as their Godhead. Fact. And this is a global thing that all the rich are actually doing to you. This is why I say every nation, that you got to wake up out of these dead man graves. You got to wake up to all of this shit. You need to start grabbing people of your own, right next door neighbor, whatever, to start running for positions of power that you know have fruit that's produced from them is good. And don't just keep taking what they keep giving you, handing you. No. Otherwise, you're never going to get out, and they're going to, like I say, this fourth beast rises up, which is more diverse, and you can understand why that they want that and everything. It's all part of their one world government control. And it's a movie for everyone to understand, like I expose it. It doesn't matter whether right or left. All of them are a part of their little family. They're giving you a movie. This guy reads off a script. This guy wants to point out, look, he's reading off a script. But what are you doing behind scenes as well now? And you have to understand how they're doing it, the way that they're doing it. The manipulation is through your religious beliefs. You clearly understand that. Because you see how they play off of it. The evangelical Christians, the Jesuit Catholics, all of these are parts of positions playing off of it. And then the left, they want to play off what is considered minority, Muslims, African. You know, they're playing off this type of weird thing that's going on. And you clearly see it. Because the people that they're promoting, what are they? Yeah. So they got to fall in line with whatever it is that they want in position of power. They have to also promote those that are in the image of that position of power that they're going to show you. So right now, you just had the radio and TV, like I say. Eventually, it's going to be the living thing itself. And you're going to be shocked by this. This is going to be the weird, freaky thing of it all, right? You understand? Because then there's going to be the fight of the AI. Okay, well, what race should we make the AIs now? Oh, man. You see that it's going to... It's so stupid, people. Stop it. Stop technology. Get away from this shit. It's ignorance. And shut the fucking movie down. We could do it simple. Put me in as the president. I'll get it fucking done overnight. Fact. And then I'll go after all the other... I'll one by one start taking other nations along down that are foul and corrupt as well. And I'll dish out justice upon the whole land of the world. You understand? That's just an eye-awakening thing for you to understand, to think about. Perceive things in a greater text, in a greater manner. And you look out and you see they're all in cahoots. And they're all pushing for the same agenda, which is technology of AI. It doesn't matter who gets in a position of power. It's still going to be foul in this manner, because that is their goal. They just want to create for you some kind of fake struggle. It's not a struggle with God. This is a fake struggle with the wicked men. Quit struggling with them. Perceive they're wicked, know that they're wicked. Quit buying their shit, quit watching their shit, quit doing anything, and they will be nothing. It's just a matter of people waking up doing it, man. That's it. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum.